Hello, my name's Jim Ramsey and I am going to be doing the unboxing of the new Panasonic DMC-FZ2000, which I have here in my hands. Freshly purchased from Jessops using the Amex offer. You folk might have seen that. Saved me a few pounds. I have had its predecessor, the Panasonic Lumix DMC-1000, for about 18 months now, and I've got to say I really love this camera. Coming from a video background, you can't beat the video output from this camera. In fact, I've got my Panasonic camcorder sitting on a tripod there, which I used to use all the time at weddings, but I used this twice this year, once in 4K mode, which was a mistake because it had filled its full 128 gig memory card by the end of the speeches. So the following wedding I did in 1080 mode, and the low light performance in 1080 mode is superb. I don't think I had it quite set up correctly for the 4K mode, so in low light it was a bit iffy, but I think that was a user error on my part. So this is the 1000. Why might I want to upgrade to the 2000? Well, there are lots and lots of reasons. So without any further ado, I think it's time to open up the 2000. I won't say an address to it as though it was a haggis, even though I'm from Scotland. Okay. So what do we have in the box? Let's set this one down. Hit the road. We have a manual. Now, the manual is available on the internet. I have read all of the manual before making my purchase. Then we have the obligatory Lumix strap. Now, is that any different from the old one? On the 1000, yes, it's a little bit different. It's a bit bolder. The old one's silvery, the new one's white. Lumix strap. Then we have the hood. Now, the hood gets referred to as the Beast from what I've seen in reviews. Now, we can compare that quite easily with the hood from its sibling brother, the 1000, which is nowhere near as largely proportioned. So, different kind of hood. Then we have the lens cap with a little dongle piece of string to keep it tied on. Now it looks, the lens cap from the 1000 is definitely smaller than this lens cap, and the 1000, I don't remember if it came with the piece of string to attach it to the camera, but I never have. Then we have the charger. The charger. That looks exactly the same as the charger from the previous camera. In fact, I've got the batteries that I used for the previous camera here. So I've got the original Panasonic battery here. So that looks as though it fits fine. And Chili Power is the batteries I buy from Amazon. So you get two of these and a charger for £20 odd out of Amazon. And they are just as good as the Panasonic. So put them back over here out the road. More from the box. We have USB to micro USB cable, not USB 3 at all. We have the lead, U-shaped lead to hook up to the charger, 3-pin, so it's definitely not a Graham port. And then we have the battery pack itself. So this battery says on it BLC12E, and my one from before says BLC12E, so they are definitely identical to the one from the younger brother. Now what one's what? That's not been used. And finally, drum roll, in the sealed polythene bag and the white bag, we have the DMC-2000. The rattling about is for the strap. Right, so let's pop the battery in. So the first thing to note is that the battery still goes on the bottom, which for anybody with a DMC-1000 will know is a pain in the tonsils, because when it is mounted on a tripod, you cannot take the battery out without taking it off the tripod mount first, which is a real pain. So on this one, you'll notice that they have moved the thread hole. Can we see that? They've moved the thread hole over a bit to the left as I'm looking at it, so that you should have access to that battery door if you're not using too big tripod plate. Now I can feel it's a bit weightier and a bit larger in dimensions than the 1000. And so let's start going over the features that attracted me to the upgrade from the 1000 to the 2000. So first things first, it has got a different lens completely. On the 1000, the lens was 25 to 400 millimeter f/35 equivalent. 35 millimeter equivalent, sorry. On this one, it's 24 to 480, which gives you a zoom of 20 times magnification. 24 times 20 equals 480. Something that's different right away is that when you switch this one on, it comes out a fixed length, and when you zoom, it wants the clock set first, where I'm getting doing any zooming. So let me just do this. Now set the clock. So what I'd like to show is that when you zoom in and out on this camera, you can hear it zooming. In fact, coming a little closer, you can hear it zoom. You can also hear the noise that the autofocus mechanism makes. That's the same as the 1000. It makes that noise as well, because I do notice it when I go hiking in the hills and I don't use my external microphone. Right, so the lens moves internally. When you switch it off, it goes away. Let's compare that with the 1000. So you switch the 1000 on, it only comes out that amount. Then if you start zooming, it's got a fair old zoom. It sounds noisier, actually. You see that noise is proportional to the zoom. And yes, you do hear that in the recordings. It's not too bad, I've got to say, but it is noticeable. So that's the reason why I would always recommend using something like this. This is the Rode Stereo Video Mic Pro. I've got the Rode Stereo Video Mic as well, but this is the Pro version. It's nice and round actually. Works very well, and when you've got that on, you don't hear that noise at all. Okay, so reasons for upgrading. More zoom, bigger lens, newer lens, internal zooming, all good. Both of them have got f2.8 at the near end, which is your 24 or 25 end, going up to f4.5 at the distant end. Actually, the 1000 is f2.8 to 4.0. Both lenses are Leica lenses. So Leica is a more expensive brand than Panasonic, and they make very good lenses. So nothing bad there. If you look at the side of this, you will notice one of its killer features, and that is that it has got built-in ND filters. There. So you can have them either auto or a variety of settings. And you'll see it's got 3 function buttons at the side. Whereas comparing it with the 1000, you'll see that the 1000 has gone for a zoom or focus and an on-off for the power optical image stabilization, OIS. So this controls what the single ring does, whether it zooms or it focuses, and that's your optical image stabilization on or off. And I always have it on, and it works very well. So going back to the 2000, no longer do you have the option to select which zoom ring you're wanting to use, but you've got 2 separate zoom rings. 2 separate rings, sorry, one for zoom and one for focus. And I haven't used it yet, so can't comment on how that compares. One addition that was very, very missing from the 1000 is a headphone socket. So that's just your 3.5mm stereo headphone jack. Of course it does have a microphone socket, and sorry, that is the microphone socket away up the top, and the headphone socket has been placed down here, and you've got your HDMI outs there. On the other side we have the door to put your SD card, which was another gripe with the 1000, in that the SD card is mounted down here, and I'll show you that in an A/B comparison. That previously we used to have the HDMI out over this side, and I've never used that. And on the bottom there we have both the battery, that's one of those chilly batteries, highly recommended from Amazon, and the memory card. So while we're on the subject of memory cards, those ones come up in lightning sales. I've had 2 now from Amazon for about £23–25. 128 gig, 150 megabits per second class 10 U3 card. Absolutely perfect for these cameras. And you'll see it's got a lot more contacts than your standard SD card. So yes, I filled one of them up doing a wedding just after the speeches. Good job I had some extra cards with me, I tell you. And it doesn't like class 10 cards. If you are shooting 4K, it will reject them. So let me have a seat and discuss other features of why I was attracted towards the new Daddy. Now this one actually, I've had it 18 months now, and I paid £649 from Amazon for this, and at the time Panasonic were giving away a 5-year warranty if you registered it, so it was a good deal. This one here, like hen's teeth to find, but I found one in Jessop's, and the price of it is £1,099, so that's a £450 premium that Panasonic have decided they're going to levy on the 2000 over the 1000. Now that put me off, I've got to admit. I love the 1000, I use it all the time. I came from video, I use it for video, I use it for stills. If I go hiking, this is all I need to take, this and my Rode mic and my monopod, and I am sorted for the day, and an extra battery. No problems at all. So, £450 to upgrade was sweetened by the American Express deal, where you were getting cash back from Jessop's. I'm not going into any more details, but that worked rather nicely for me. So I've jotted some notes down, so look at my notes. Number one was the lens, so we've went over that. You get 20 times zoom now, so it's larger diameter, having a larger cap. Now, threads. I've never used a filter on this, but I can see that you could use a filter, and this one I can see you can definitely use a filter. Screw on filter, no problem. Next point I had, number two, was that when you zoom, the lens in this moves in and out, and when you zoom in this, it does not move in and out because it's internal focusing, a bit like my 70-200 for my Nikon 70-200 VR that I use with my D800. That I think is going to solve the big elephant in the room with this camera, and you'll see it on any of my YouTube videos that I have tagged as 4K/UHD, that, and I do aeroplane for videography and photography a lot. When I am zooming in or zooming out on an aeroplane or anything in the distance, this camera loses focus during the zoom and regains focus when you stop zooming. So I am hoping that this camera, the 2000, is going to solve that problem, and that will make me happy as Larry. So it remains to be seen. I haven't had it out yet, it's just been unboxed. So number three was about the external mic. Both have got external mic sockets. There it is on the 2000, being moved up a little bit. On the 1000 it's down underneath here. 3.5 inch millimeter headphone microphone. So Rode mic works perfectly with this. Of course, it just, Jesus. You take that off without a chisel and slips on there. Now the two of these cameras look identical away up in that area. The flash looks a bit more elongated on the 2000 though. So you get the flash up right doing that. It's good to have built-in flash. So that was number three. Okay, I had a little problem there with the camcorder running out of memory. So I am going to go back to cover all of these points again. Let's start from the very beginning. I've made some notes and I want to do a comparison between the predecessor, the DMC-1000, and the successor, the decidedly heavier and heavier featured and heavier cost DMC-2000. So, number one was the lens. On the 1000, you have a 25 to 400mm lens. When you switch it on, that's how far it comes out. When you zoom it, oh, bugbear about those memory cards. Start again. I've made a list of features that I'd like to discuss. I'd like to make a A/B comparison between the small brother, the 1000, and the big brother, the 2000. So number one on the list has got to be the lens. It's all built around the lens. It's of course not interchangeable. This is a bridge camera. Fixed lens. 25 to 400. Switch it on. Comes out that far. You zoom. And it extends yonder far. Big, long lens, especially when the hood's on it. And you can hear that image stabilization at the far end. Just testing in different modes. Switch it off. And it goes there. So that's a f2.8 to 4.0 lens, made by Leica, who make good lenses. This one here, f2.8 to 4.5, so it loses a bit of light at its longest setting. So you turn it on, and it comes out that far. You zoom it out. It zooms. You can hear the internal noise, but it doesn't move. So this is an internal zooming lens. (24 to 480). So 25 to 400, 24 to 480, a true 20 times optical zoom in this camera. Number two was the fact that the lens it focuses internally, focuses externally. So this is where I'm hoping the performance improvement's going to be for me, because you will see if you watch any of the videos that I've put on to YouTube that I say they're 4K or UHD, you will see that when I zoom in and out, and I frequently do when I'm doing plane photography, you will see that it loses zoom briefly during the zoom. So I'm hoping that the 2000 with its internal zooming mechanism is not going to have that trait. Remains to be seen. I've only just unboxed it. Number three was the fact that you can use not only use an external mic with both of them sitting there, plugging in there, there, and right up higher on the 2000, but crucially when you're doing weddings you want to make sure that you're recording the sound and that you've not forgotten to switch on the battery on your external mic, which, trust me, I've done in the past. Not at a wedding, thankfully. So for that you would like the reassurance of wearing a small set of headphones and have a headphone jack, which the 2000 has got and the 1000 doesn't. It wasn't all lost though, because you can turn it on the graphics so that you can see the left and right going up and down on the 1000, but still one of the reasons why I like to use the camcorder at weddings and use this as a B camera. Going on to number three, we have the tripod screw. where you screw your tripod into. Now it's obviously on the bottom, but it has been moved because it was far too close to the door on the 1000, and the gap's much bigger now. So hopefully if you need to change your battery very quickly, you can do it while it's still on the tripod mount. I consider that a good move. Next thing we've got is the 30-minute limit. This here, there is no 30-minute limit, so they must have paid to have that, because this would be kind of going under a camcorder camera license, and this more a camcorder. So you need to pay extra in the EU if you want to blast through that 30-minute limit. And the 30-minute limit definitely comes into play at a wedding if you're using it as a B camera, say up the back, doing long distance stuff. You don't want it stopping on 30 minutes because these things take longer than that. This one, I've got to say, when you're working in 4K mode, splits the files up into about 5 minutes 30 seconds, then starts a new file with a +1 file name from the previous, like 50, 51, 52. And when you come with your editor, and I use Adobe Premiere Pro, and it's seamless, you can just butt them together and it's as though they were never in separate files, which is a really good feature that that little Panasonic camcorder could learn from, and I'm hoping the same is true of this camera. So number 6 on the list is these ND filters. Showed you them up close earlier on. So we have auto, a 60th, a 16th, a quarter and off on the 2000, and nothing on the 1000. I'm looking forward to using the ND filters. Whether it's that big a deal for me, I don't know. Next one, number 7, is about the 4K mode. So on the 1000, you switch it to the little camera icon. It's got an M beside it, that's the same. And you have got 37mm, and I've turned all the electronic zooming on in this, so I can zoom up to 2368mm, which isn't optical zoom, that's like digitally beyond belief zoom. But, and I've got to say but, I use that a lot. You will see in a lot of my videos when it starts to go grainy, that's working at 2368mm. So what kind of lens are you going to have on a 35mm camera to get that reach? I'll leave you with that one, but it works very, very well. On this one here, when you switch it on in that mode, it says, I need to change that diopter. It says 25 to 500. And already I can tell it's zooming a lot better. I like that. Obviously it'll go up higher than 500 when I go into the menus and I turn on the digital reach type stuff. 4K mode, this does 3840 by 2160 at 24p. That's all it does. No other options. This one does that. It does it at 23.98, it does it at 30, it does it at 29 point whatever, it does it at 60, it does it at 50, and all variants. Everything's catered for. Plus, this has got a cinema 4K mode, which is 4096 by 2160, but that's only at 24p. Yet to see how good that is. If you're going to use it for 1080, There are many more codecs available on this that really blast it through the 100 megabits per second that this is limited to in 4K mode and 1080 mode for 100 megabits per second. This goes higher. Don't know if I'm going to use that. Number 9, the touchscreen. So let's go with the 1000 first. You get a screen that comes out and it rotates round about. Excellent for a lot of the work that I do. So I've got many parade videos on my YouTube channel, and I use a monopod. I use this with the Rode mic sitting on top of it, and it allows me to get low angles, high angles, for me to walk. And so I'm walking that way and I have the screen out and I can get good coverage doing that. This one here, the screen is bigger, it's chunkier, it's squarer, and when I switch it on, it says no memory card flashing at me. It's clearer and it is touchscreen, which I do like, and it's OLED, so I think that's, sorry you can't see this, but you've got to take my word for it, that I've got zebra on there. I would say it's definitely a nicer screen, and the touch screen, superb. Don't want to witter on too much. So where are we? Number 10, Wi-Fi. Both have got Wi-Fi. Is that usable? Hell yeah. There's an app you can get for your, well, I've got an Android phone. I'm sure you get it for Apples as well, iOS. That can remote control these, and you can see on your phone what it's seeing. But when I use it is when I go on holiday and I want to take some photographs and put them on Flickr, YouTube, whatever, Facebook, sorry, and yeah, Wi-Fi works well. You can hook it up and grab the stuff onto your phone and then do what you want with it once it's on your phone. That's how I deal with it anyway. Number 11 is stabilization. Now they say this has got 5-axis stabilization, but only in 1080 mode. So I've seen some videos of it on YouTube and it looks pretty damn good, and yeah, I'm going to experiment with that, and I'll do an A to B comparison between 1080 mode and 4K mode, because that could come in really handy for my videos where I'm using my monopod and walking alongside the pipe bands as they're parading up and down the Royal Mile in Edinburgh. I think that could be good. Number 12 is a vlog, something called vlog. You can pay £99 to get a software upgrade to provide this with vlog. No such thing for the 1000. I don't know what it does, but I see it as mentioned all the time as one of the main selling features. Dual ring, so we have one ring here and one ring here, and I know not which is which, but one's a focus ring and one's a zoom ring, whereas on the 1000 you've got one big fatter ring. Don't know if there's some sand got in this, I don't think so though. And you do zoom or focus. There's a button there to change it, and you can switch stabilization on, that's your optical image stabilization, OIS, on or off at the flick of a switch. That might be, if you tripod mount it, you might want to switch it off. I never do. Let's just leave it on. Don't know if that's bad of me. And next Number 14 is zoom buttons. So the 2000's got 3 function buttons here, function 1, 2 and 3, and by default I've read that 1 and 2 are zoom in and out and they can give a really smooth zoom. So I'm looking forward to testing that out and seeing how it compares with the little micro switch at the side. And number 15 I've got written down as dolly zoom. This doesn't do it, and this does. Is it a gimmick? I don't know. I'll give an update in a future video. So, initial thoughts. Now I do have a DSLR. I've got a Nikon D800 with a bunch of lenses. I've got the Nikon Holy Trinity lenses, and I use it a lot. But I find myself drawn to use this bridge camera very much because it allows me to both take video at 4K and pull stills out of that video that are 8 megapixel stills, and you get them at 24 frames a second. So what's not to like about that? And you get the crazy stupid reach that this one affords. Up to 2, 3, 6, 8mm, and I'm sure this is going to go even further. So both have definitely a bit more weight in this one. It's a bit chunkier, and yeah, that really concludes what I've got to say at this time. I'd really like some feedback if you thought this unboxing and A to B comparison between the 1000 and the 2000 was useful, and if you want to ask me any questions, just do so through my YouTube channel and I'll get back to you. So I'm looking forward to getting out and about with this in the new year, and many thanks for watching, and take care. Cheers.